Even if it's an easy bottom job, there's nothing easy about it. In part 2 of my haul out series, we're tackling the heavy lifting. I'm breaking down exactly what it takes to wash, sand, seal, and paint the bottom of a 39-foot sailboat. It was brutal work, but with a crew of 4 of us grinding it out for 10 days, I couldn't be happier with how it turned out. All right, let's go. If you watched part 1, you saw the travel lift the boat out of the water. This week, we start with her in the slings for a quick pressure wash before blocking her up on the stands, which is where the boat would spend the next 10 days getting a massive makeover. I've watched Jim work on dozens of boats in the yard, but it wasn't until I was on the working end of the sander that I realized that I had no clue what I was in store for. The learning curve was steep, and I learned a lot of lessons the hard way, such as, no matter how hot it is, wear the miserable protective equipment. Well, today is day 2 of sanding on the boat. Yesterday went really well. We got a lot done, as you can see here. We got a lot more done on the starboard side than the port side. I wasn't expecting for the dust to irritate my skin as much as it did, but I didn't get much sleep last night, probably less than about an hour and a half, because I was just itching and watery eyes, runny nose. I didn't have as much PPE on as I should have. So they're going to be working on this today, and I'm not sure right now how much of a role I'm going to play in that. I have a razor, and I'm going to help work on getting some of this stuff on these edges here at the waterline. They say that we should have about another half day of sanding. Seems like a little bit more. You can see this side's not done nearly as thoroughly as the other side. It's enough, but we were getting it down to really be in its best condition possible. The crew will be here shortly, and we'll get started. We got at least today of sanding. I'm hoping we'll have that complete. And I guess we'll start working on the keel boat. They're strategically doing this because get this boat sanded so there's no more dust in the air so they can start painting that one. They didn't want to start painting and then the dust from over here getting on that boat. It's all about the timing.
Guess I'm stuck in a dream, surrounded by colored leaves on the ground.
All right, I wanted to give you a quick update. We've been out here since Monday every day, and today is Saturday. It's going to be a half day and give you an update. So you can take a look at the bottom. I really do think we'll finish the bottom today. The work has been intermixed with other boats. There's one that's missing that just got splashed. They've been trying to get this boat in the water as soon as possible. They were waiting on some parts. I think they got that all worked out. We will get that prop cleaned up so it'll be ready for the prop speed here shortly. We got a few spots that got faired out. There was not a lot of blisters. We only found a couple. I've been working on cleaning out the through hulls. We disassembled the blades off of the bow thruster to make that easier to clean. As you'll see here, Jim took the lead on the epoxy work to ferret out a blemish on the bow and a couple small blisters on the keel bulb.
As I start to explore, I can't ignore a man. He turned his head.
So if we go like super liberal on this, that's okay.
Again, if you watched part 1, we replaced the keel bolts and vacuum plates. Once that was completed, we moved on to replacing the cracked sealant on the leading and aft edges of the keel.
So I can get high with my friends.
You can even come back and do another bead on top. Okay. And that way we'll have enough to kind of match how it's fared out.
Don't wait up 'cause I won't be home today.
Alright, what much sit on there? Let's see. We need that fared out. Let's sit on the tip here.
Drifting down a road, losing myself in a dream. Feel my hands getting cold.
I think it's matched up fairly well. It's good.
We've already done a lot of the work, but we've cleaned out that gap that was on between the hull and the keel. And we have Jim just smoothing out. We've backfilled it with, what is that called again?
Sikaplex.
Sikaplex.
Yeah. spend a little bit of time getting out all the garbage from the old stuff, trying to get it to a surface that it'll clean.
Once the hull was sanded and faired, Adrian and I scrubbed and rinsed the hull twice to make sure we had a good surface for the paint to adhere to.
What we have here is they're taping the water line because we are about to start painting. Got a nice clean line here. Looks really good. He just finished stirring the paint. I think he threw a little thinner in there because it's really hot outside to keep it from drying as fast. Is that why y'all put the thinner in?
We don't. We usually sometimes mix it with inside the paint thing, but we put a little bit of thinner every time we put more in the tray. Oh, that breeze is gonna kill us.
We're getting ready. Here is the first of, I think, 3 or 4 coats. They've talked about how they're going to do the water line or whatever, but looks like they're both loaded up with some paint. And it is Gary who's going to put the first bit of paint on here. Away we go. So these two have done quite a few boats together, so you see like they're not even having to talk, they know what each other's job is. And I went with this lighter blue because I've had several people that dye boats told me that it's actually easier to see the slime and growth if it's a lighter color when you're going to clean it. So that was my, and it was blue before, so that was my reasoning on that, because I think the darker colors look a lot better, but nobody can see the bottom of the boat, so it doesn't really matter.
I like this angle. Once you see the paint go on, you can see just how smooth the hull is.
Today is, I believe, day 7 since we hauled out, and they are now putting on the second coating on the bottom. And I say second, but there are certain areas that have additional coatings: the waterline, the keel, the rudder, as I've mentioned in the previous clips. But I think they're doing a full coat right now. And we'll have one more. If this can get dry in time, they're going to do one more coating after lunch, and that will be pretty much it for the paint, except for tomorrow they'll come back and they'll move the stands and prep all that and get that painted. And that only leaves us to work with what's going on back here with the strut. We will use some epoxy, some hardened epoxy to fair that out. We're going to put prop speed on the prop and shaft as well as the strut. I've taken care of a lot of the stuff inside. The only thing I have left is the painstaking task of wiping down all the dust and painting the bilge, which I'm probably going to work on today in between projects. I've lost track of the days, but I think this is day 8 on the hard. We have finished the bottom, and I say we, Adrian and Gary finished the bottom yesterday. Looks really good. Jim is back in town today. I think he is going to work on fairing out the strut here, getting this all cleaned up. Then we will get this polished up so that it can have a coating of prop speed on it. I will continue working on cleaning the interior and prepping the bilge. A new project that surfaced that we weren't expecting was these bolts here on the chain plate for the forestay. Matt has ordered some new longer bolts. I want to make sure that those bolts make it all the way through the nylon nut, because what they had before was only grabbing by a thread or two. Now, while that is a shear connection, so that's the only way that they would break, it's still very concerning. We polished this through hull and re-bedded it. Here's another new through hull. We added that. That is now my bilge discharge. I don't know what to do about this boot stripe. It's a decal. I'd love to have it removed and have a new one painted on. Well, but unfortunately they don't allow any spray painting here in the yard. And then number two, it would have to be out of the water, and it's just, you know, we can't do that right now. I don't have the time or the money. It's just cosmetic, but it would make a big difference in the appearance. I've pecked at this prop for about the last couple hours. Well, not continuously, but I've probably got at least 2 hours in it, getting it ready for the prop speed. I could probably spend some more time on the strut, but I'm not as interested in working on that. I think I got everything clean. There's our rope cutter, line cutter, but you can see that's all nice and clean, got into those crevices. And we probably would have threw the prop speed on there a little sooner, but we're waiting for this thickened epoxy to harden so that we can get that all faired out and get it painted, and we'll do it all at once.
We removed a thick layer of rubber that felt a lot like silicone that they used to fair the strut. It wasn't sticking to the strut, so we dug it out, and Jim faired it properly with a hardened epoxy, which gave us a sleeker profile, and I got peace of mind knowing it was done correctly. While he finished that project, the rest of us worked on the last few items so we could splash the boat the next day.
Reaching up high into space, see myself in a glass. I'm counting the lines on my face again. Counting the lines on my face.
And just like that, we were back in the slings and ready for a few days of rest from the whirlwind of projects. Stay tuned next week if you want to see a few of the projects that we also knocked out while we were on the hard.
All right, we got some last minute painting going. Jim is grabbing the bottom of the rudder. Adrian came and gave the first coat on the keel.
That wraps up this week. Thanks for following our journey, one adventure at a time. Join us on Patreon for bonus footage and behind-the-scenes updates. Your support there is truly what helps fuel these adventures. And don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and leave a comment. We'll see you next week.